license for Merrill Hills Country Club.
Just a standard operator license and whatever you like to do.
Is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Section E, second request to waive the town of Waukesha rescue bills. Has this been, was it previously tabled?
No.
Okay. Is there a motion to start discussion?
Well, I guess I'd like to discuss it before we even get to a motion at this point. As with regard to these medical bills, especially when there's a transport that happens to the hospital has a complete process by which they determine the financial welfare of the individual to pay their bill, and they issue a letter. When this was before us last, we walked away from approving this so that they could go through that process and get that letter. I don't see that in my packet. I see income information in my packet, which I don't think I wanted to see, but here or there, but they were transported, they went to the hospital. If they had a financial hardship, the hospital would go through that process and issue a letter. My fear in not sticking to that process is it then makes us the decision maker of who gets one and who doesn't, and the process beforehand that was established was that we were going to rely on the hospital's determination where they are able to understand, I mean, they get X and they get Y, but are they multimillionaires and the X and the Y don't matter? That's something that the hospital reviews their assets and understands their picture, and then they're making the decision instead of us. I don't want to determine who pays a bill and who doesn't based on a hardship. I don't think that is necessarily our.
I agree. The hospital bills that were included have some write-off amount. They call it a cherry write-off. I don't know what process they go through to get to that point. However, I don't think that we, at any point, should be writing off any bills for anybody and set a precedent. At what point do we stop doing that? Then does it become property taxes that become a hardship and they don't get paid? So I don't think we want to set that precedent, period.
The decision we've made, in my time on the board, we've had two requests, this one and one other. The other provided the letter from Waukesha Memorial where they did their work and they said that they were giving them a hardship discount of 100% of the bill, and the board acted in concurrence with that and moved forward and extended that as well. And I think that I'm still at that point where if they had these bills, and if these are charity write-offs, I mean, there's write-offs on here for the insurance discounts and itemizations like that, but if they had a hardship write-off, they would in fact have the letter already in their possession and that said, here's the number.
I agree with your position, Jonah. It doesn't have anything, from my perspective, to do with being unable to understand or discompassionate or whatever, but the town of Waukesha does not have the resources to make the evaluations and judgments about these issues. We simply don't, and if we're going to get into then simply making subjective decisions over and over without some kind of an objective threshold or whatever, then I think we're kind of indiscriminately picking winners and losers, and I think that's a real problem. So I support what you say.
Jamie, did Michelle at the billing company, did she reach out to them? Because that was kind of the directive that she was going to coach them on how they were.
Right, she did reach out to them. hence what you have in front of you, but that's what they brought forward as additional paperwork. I will make sure it's clarified with our rep that you're gonna be looking specifically for that letter that we had prior to.
I guess we don't, as we did last time, we did not take any action. We just kind of left it with a redirect to say, hey, go get us another piece of paper so we can consider this, is what we did last time. Okay, I'll recommend that we table it till a future meeting when they can provide us that documentation.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next, F, Board of Appeals appointments. We've had a rather inactive Board of Appeals for quite some time. I'd like to appoint all of the previous members. I don't, does anybody have any qualms about taking these as a group?
I have no backup paper on this. What I would like to see is virtually who was the board of,
Oh, I'm sorry, it's
what
not-
composed it, in addition to that, what was the length of term? There was nothing in our
I can
packet.
make a copy, that's fine.
We can make a copy, we've got all the names here, unless you'd rather just have me read them off.
All right, it would have been nice to have this in advance.
The previous Board of Appeals members, as well as all of the same ones would be the appointees, would be Mary Graves, Walter Cole was the chairman, Catherine Piala, Paul, and if I butcher this, I apologize in advance, Skolovich, and Robert Stigler. There's a 3-year term that will expire on April 30th, 2016.
For all five.
Correct. So if nobody's opposed, I'd like to take them all as a group.
I'd like to take them singly over.
Fair enough. And we'll start at the top. Mary Graves,
Motion to approve.
second.
Second.
Discussion?
I'm sorry, it was
Mary Graves.
Who was the first?
Mary Graves.
Um,
No, I'm sorry, first.
Joe
Oh,
and Brian.
it's like who's on first or something?
Thank you.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And Mary Graves is appointed. Next, Walter Cole,
Motion to approve.
second. I'll second. Discussion?
I have an issue with that in the respect that I don't believe a city and/or a county employee should be sitting on our Board of Appeals.
Okay. I don't believe he is a city or county employee.
I'm not talking full-time, perhaps part-time.
It's an elected position, not an
That's
employee.
not an employee. There's a difference.
I believe there is, yeah. I don't think we're employees.
Workplace is different for a county employee versus an elected official.
I think yes.
Same building.
No, it's, an elected official is not an employee. An employee is an employee, like a DPW employee. An elected official is an elected official.
Mike, it's no different than here. We're elected officials, we're not employees of the town of Waukesha. Jamie is, we're not.
I view it different.
Okay. It hasn't been an issue in the past. Is there a second? Or did I second that?
Second.
Seconded. Any other discussion? Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
And Walter is also appointed and confirmed. Next, Catherine Piala.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And Catherine Piala is also confirmed. Next, Paul Skolovich. Motion to confirm?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And Paul is also confirmed. And lastly, Robert Stigler.
Motion.
Second? Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? And Robert is also confirmed. Road bid proposals, Section D, we have 5 separate proposals. A couple of them, one of the proposals is also, one of the contracts would combine both crack filling and paving into one proposal. So we have contract A, a crack fill proposal, contract B, asphalt paving, contract C, crack filling and asphalt paving as a single contract, contract D, asphalt seal coating with boiler slag, and lastly E, which would be pulverizing and 4-inch pavement overlay for Lawrence Lane. We'd be putting these out to bid with the bids due in on Wednesday, June 12th at 3:30 PM. Bid opening would be the following day on Thursday, June 13th.
Make a motion to approve.
Second,
Second.
discussion?
How many contractors, how many proposals are we gonna be getting? How many are being sent out, if you will? Who's all being contacted?
Well, we're gonna contact the previous bidders, I believe there was 12 on the list, or the previous list that we sent it out to, I should say. I believe there's 12 on the list, and there could be any number of other bidders that would bid based off of the advertisement.
Will we know in
18.
advance who is all getting the paperwork necessary to bring us back a competitive bid?
Yes, Jamie has that information.
Thank you.
Was there a second on that? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Section H, amending of the town ordinances. Joe, I think this is something that you wanted on there. I think that we should move this to a workshop or a staff meeting and go through these rather than having town council, without any discussion by the board, change ordinances for the town.
So you want to table until workshop?
Yes.
We're gonna table it to the workshop or move it to the workshop?
Table for workshop
Okay.
would be regular,
Confirm.
the board would be basically acting as a board, but as a committee of the whole in a workshop setting. So the motion would be to table it to that. And you should set a date and time.
Is everybody prepared to set a date today, at this time, to set a date for a future, a date certain?
Yes.
Daytime or evening, guys?
Evening.
Yeah, I prefer to stay in the evening so people can come.
Does anybody have any conflicts with Tuesday, the 11th, June?
Yes, I do have a conflict.
Okay. Tuesday, the 18th?
Morning only, conflict. Only in the morning.
Oh, so
Evening's
11th is
fine.
okay?
Fine for me.
Evening's fine, 6:30?
So on the 11th, Mike, you're okay?
Oh, 18.
Oh, we're back to 18, okay, 18th, so 18th at 6:30? Brian,
Fine.
Larry, Joe?
Uh, I may have a conflict.
25th?
It's an evening, I'll be back by then, I'll just make sure I'm back.
Okay, 18th at 6:30.
question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
And any other members of the board, there are on the agenda here 3 items listed for consideration. Can we have an agreement in as much as this is a workshop that if there are other ordinances that we might consider amending, that we would not be precluded from discussing those at that time, or do they need to be identified this evening?
Bring your list. I think there is a host of ordinances that need to be addressed. The zoning or the CSM ordinance where we're in conflict with the state statute would be one that pops to mind immediately. I think there's a host of them that we could address.
Then I guess my question would be, and then we can pass this through Hector, can this simply be noticed then is it appropriate to notice in general sense that we will be considering a workshop discussing amending ordinances, or do we have to have specific references to the ordinance we're considering?
I recommend that there be a specific reference to the ordinance and that, and this can be posted 24 hours prior to the meeting. That would give you up until theoretically the 17th to identify those things that you may wish to discuss. For your information also, at this point in time, I don't know if there's been an opportunity to distribute the drafts that my office has prepared, but we have prepared drafts for the Plan Commission members' appointment and the term of office of town supervisor. We are in the process of also preparing an ordinance for town planner. My understanding is that you can discuss anything, but if you would prefer to have a draft to use as a basis for your discussion, I would urge you to inform our office in advance so that we can get to work on it for you.
I guess help me out a bit. I heard something I'm not sure I understand, that there are already drafts of these available. I know there was discussion of it about, but who authorized you to prepare drafts of these?
The board did. At a
When?
previous meeting.
Yeah.
Previous board?
When was that?
No, in this board.
Okay.
I guess I won't belabor the time now, but I guess I would like to know when and what manner that happened with regard to these specific things directed you to prepare drafts. So
Oh, sure.
I must have missed it.
I can meet with you after the meeting and go over the minutes, yes. That was a specific matter that was brought
Do
up.
you know
at
what
board
meeting that occurred at?
Recently, within the last, since Mr. Merrick has been in office.
See.
Well, nonetheless, we'll move forward with that and table that to a staff meeting, a workshop on the
June 18th.
18th at 6:30. And anybody that wants to add to that list, please do so prior to the time that we would have to notice. Is there a second to the table?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
I missed the first, sorry.
First, I believe Joe, I think. Joe, was that you?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, item I, budget amendments. We have several items. Jamie, could you go through the items that we are adding to? And there's a couple of areas where we are shifting money from one area to another within the same general category.
Right. Board members, what you all have in front of you, specifically the increase in appropriation would, there are 4 items to totaling $14,517. This will be just a shift in appropriation in the budget lines. We're increasing the items from the salaries and wages, FICA, retirement, and other benefits, and pulling from the clerk treasurer supplies and expenses, salary and wages, elections, salaries and wages, and election supplies and expenses to offset for the 32 hours for Aaron for the rest of the year. Then the other item of the 5,280, these are miscellaneous items, just to get all the line items in alignment. The town board dues, memberships, training, requesting for an appropriation of 3,000 increase, along with the elections contracted services, 1,000 increase, other general government, 755 permit fees for new homes, 575. And then the 5,280 though would be specifically taken from the general fund balance to be placed into the budget line items to appropriate those correctly. Clarifications on those items?
I'll make a motion to accept the items proven as listed.
Second?
I'll second
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Needs to be a roll call, 2/3 vote.
Okay.
Chairman Merrick,
Yes.
Supervisor Bansky,
Yes.
Supervisor Wolf,
Yes.
Supervisor Laska,
Yes.
Supervisor Fisher.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Section I, update on the status of the town hall on-site sewage disposal system. Mike, where are
That's
we
me.
at?
At this point, we are still work in progress and nothing further to report.
Any bids, drawings, engineering, any forward progress?
I have forward progress, but nothing to report.
What would your forward progress be?
That is my statement. I'm not going to engage in argument. Over.
Nobody's asking for an argument. I'm just asking for what the forward progress was. It's been about 5, 6 weeks at this point.
Perhaps.
Okay,
I'm working on it.
okay. Is there a chance
A
you?
full report will be given to the board. Everybody will be on the same page with the same knowledge at the same time.
Okay, do you have an idea when that might be? As we sit here today, Mike, we're pumping this thing twice a week and just flushing
Twice a
money.
week, excuse me.
I'm sorry, twice a month and flushing money.
We've had an excessive amount of rain, and this is exactly why I didn't want to encourage any kind of argument. We've got an excessive amount of rain leaking right into our DPW building, right, that goes right into that. So therefore, that's one of the reasons we're being pumped, is because of the design of the DPW building that did not take into account rainwater. But once again, to help you maintain lack of bickering, I will simply stop at this point, and my report and statement is, this is work in progress, and I will get back to the board.
When? We'd like to make some, we'd like to have
As soon
some
as I have
concrete
enough
dates.
information to satisfy everybody at this table.
Okay. Have you identified any bidders, any engineering, anything?
Yes, I have.
I thought at a prior board meeting, we talked about this just 4 weeks ago, and the directive was that you were gonna be working to try to put the town onto city sewer, and that there was going to be some time delay here while we were trying to work on that issue and get that on sewer. You brought back, I think, just 2 weeks ago, you asked if we should get engineering bids and things, or if you should pursue the city piece, and I seem to recall that we left it with him that it was gonna be something that we were gonna pursue the city with. And we just
Yes.
wrapped that up on Tuesday.
A sewer and water,
That
Alternative.
seems to be the most viable and pure way of fixing it. I think that's an exact quote in the minutes.
yes,
Just the sewer?
no, sewer.
Sewer only.
Yes. What are we doing?
Depending on.
Well, yeah, depending on what happens.
It would have to be sewer and water.
There might
Sewer,
be
it's
other
gonna be
issues.
water also. Okay, we'll move on. Section K, clarification on the motion from May 21st, special item, agenda 2A, water service, sewer service area. The city of Waukesha has requested a couple of clarifications in our motion. The first one, all high-capacity wells operated by the city of Waukesha including the Lathers wells, are to be abandoned upon a successful application for Great Lakes water diversion. The change would have to be high-capacity, shallow aquifer wells, as the city of Waukesha does operate a deep aquifer well on town property. And they are not going to abandon any of their deep aquifer wells, which doesn't affect us. The shallow wells are what we are interested in protecting. The second change is combining both the sewer and water service. And the statement that we had previously was annexation of town property into the city of Waukesha is not required, in parentheses, to obtain water from the city of Waukesha water utility. And we also had the same verbiage with regards to sewer service. And we had Waukesha water utility in for sewer service. Unfortunately, the city of Waukesha water utility doesn't treat sewage. So what they've requested is that it just gets changed to the city of Waukesha rather than defined water utility. And also the verbiage will read, annexation of town property into the city of Waukesha is not always required, that's added, to receive water and or sanitary services from the city of Waukesha, and requests will be considered pursuant to the policy of the Common Council on a case-by-case basis. The last addition is regarding the memorandum of understanding. Upon a successful Great Lakes water diversion application, the city and town officials will enter into a memorandum of understanding to memorialize our agreement.
Can you read the last one, please?
Yes. Upon a successful Great Lakes water diversion application, the city and town officials will enter into a memorandum of understanding to memorialize our agreement. And that would be the entire agreement, including the April 25th letter.
Okay, I don't see that on the sheet that I agreed, that I voted on at the last meeting, that last sentence.
It's not, it's added.
Who is it?
We're adding it now.
Who is we?
Us.
Okay, from what I okay, when we had the meeting the other night, we didn't have it on, and I got a copy of the letter that went out already, and it's already on.
No letter's been out, Larry. No letter,
Pardon me?
no letter's been sent to the city.
I thought that's the email that I received.
No letter's been sent to the city.
But yet they want tweaks on it?
We have not signed a letter and sent it to the city. They know what the verbiage is, and they're asking for some, yes, tweaks on it.
Okay, we didn't get a email, I don't recall what day it was, saying that this was the document that was being signed and sent out.
It was in Chairman Merrick's hands to be delivered, was for the email.
Okay.
So he had it in his hands. He chose not to take it over there. That would have been up to Chairman Merrick. Because you guys I was receiving emails back inquiring about the last,
Right.
I was contacting Chairman Merrick for the clarification, and he requested this then to be clarified, so we could get you guys all on the same, he could get you all on the same page.
I had a number of phone conversations with the city, and they requested these changes. There was no sense in giving them a letter that they weren't going to accept.
Okay, because that last statement was added, and I didn't know that was being added.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Right.
I have two problems. One, we used their language. We even put the quotations around required. Now they're hedging on that word. Now they want to put a qualifier on the word required. And the problem that feeds is then they want us to go the way Congress went with Obamacare and approve it, and hopefully we can see what's in it later. Why would we bind the town at this point and wait for 4 years until they actually have their diversion? Is that the language they want? I mean, they might not get that till June of 18. So how are we gonna hit the replay button 5 years from now and say, oh, here's what the town board and the city agreed, or kind of agreed to 5 years ago? I mean, with regard to the January 24th map, by January 31st, Ed Henschel had discussion with Eric Ebersberger and the town board And the agreement at that point, which was in writing, was that the city attorney was going to take the, I believe it says the first stab at the draft of the agreement and forward that to De La Mora for review. Why now would we wait 5 years?
Well, it's not 5 years. The application is expected to be approved sometime in mid-year next year. And
There's an election between now and then, and there's 2 board members that are up for election during that time.
Mhm.
And I'd like to make sure that the agreement that gets memorialized is the agreement that we voted, not let's put us all in and hopefully we can still seek getting sewer services from Big Bend. Hopefully annexation isn't always required. I mean, I don't think anybody has bought a house with a, hey, just give me your money and you agree with me, and then 2 years from now, I'll send you the deed. I mean, that seems like the kind of thing that we're being asked to do on that, and that seems to be something that is very much not in the best interest of the town.
Well, I would disagree. I don't think it's, I'll send you the deed in 2 years. First of all, with regards to Big Bend, Joe, that's nothing new. That's been hanging out there since May 4th of 2011. The city has agreed that we can seek alternate sources for sewer and/or water treatment.
That statement was not an agreement in that email. It's merely a recollection of discussion being held.
All right.
So
On
I
April,
don't wanna
Fair enough.
dive through and revisit it. You're asking us to clarify or amend the letter that we're sending.
fair enough. On April 22nd, when you, myself, Sewer PAC, DNR, the city, the county, all met, they also clarified that that was an option for us, that we were allowed to seek
And why
sewer and water
Why
treatment.
won't they just put it in, I mean,
It is in writing. We're putting it, it's in writing in this document.
why won't they? Because this has always been about the beat up the town, let's push us into a box and write us up in the newspaper. We have made a very good faith effort to join them in their service area. And this is, the letter that we drafted yet again Tuesday night is a very good agreement for both parties. Why, what's the problem? Why don't they want to put it in writing now? Why wait?
They are putting it in writing. The memorandum of understanding is something that we will get to later. All of this will be agreed to right here, right now. With regards to a good faith effort, I don't think we've made a good faith effort. The town has been working on this, if you want to call it working on it, for over 2 years. We finally come to some sort of conclusion that we could include the entire town in the last month and a week. I don't see that we've made good faith efforts. I'd say that we've put the city off for a couple of years and finally did what the citizens of the town of Waukesha had wanted. And the reason that we have the language changes, they want to make sure that residents in the city, in the town of Waukesha, understand that there is not always going to be sewer and water provided. Just because that you snap your fingers and say, hey, I'm off on Town Line Road and I need sewer or I need water, it is not coming to you immediately. And they want to make certain that you understand that.
But that has nothing to do with those changes. I mean, they're changing, and I said on Tuesday night, if y'all wanna go and get water and sewer, plan on being annexed. Because that's what, now they're hedging on that word again. It wasn't good enough to have required, now we wanna insert another word. And I said, that's a decision that you have to make as town residents. It's your right, your decision. We don't have a place to make that decision. So the fact that they want to insert that word, I don't have a problem with that. I do have a problem when they want us to say we're all in, but they don't want to put the contract between us and them together because the contract is so thin, it'll probably take very little time for the two attorneys to work out and memorialize it. We sign it, it's got a big asterisk on the bottom that says it's contingent upon them getting a Great Lakes application. Without it, we default to the January 24th water service supply area. And it's done. I mean, it's not like we gotta draft the Great Lakes Compact here.
Well, the other side of that is, let's say in August or July of 2014, it doesn't say that the city of Waukesha is going to enter into a memorandum of understanding. It is the city and town officials. It's both of us. It's both groups
I
that,
don't wanna wait, that's the difference.
well,
I
If-
don't see the
if-
purpose in it. I don't, there's no purpose in waiting to draft an agreement if both parties agree.
well, I can tell you this much, Joe. If we walk out of here tonight and we don't approve this, we are done. I am not even certain that we're gonna get past this tonight. I have some assurances. They're gonna have to have a special city council meeting, but there's no assurances that they're gonna approve what we have right here, right now. But this is our shot. This is it. And you stated it very clearly. We, us, this board, does not have the right to take that right from all of those people and the other
I don't have a problem
9,000 or
with
so
that.
other people. That's
I don't
their
have a
decision,
problem with
not
that
ours.
language. I'm not saying, I just said it, I do not have a problem with them inserting additional hedge work, okay? Great for them. I have a problem when they won't put the contract in agreement today, this week. That there's no reason for that. There's just none. Situations change. We have a state assembly and through the finance committee that just attempted to gut the Supreme Court case that protects our shallow aquifers, that places the duty with the DNR to make sure that a high-capacity well doesn't damage our wells and our water level. That just happened. You know, to not have an agreement today and you're gonna sign it in a year, you don't know what the environment's gonna be, what the situations are gonna be happening with regard to the water levels. That is not in the best interest of the town of Waukesha. It does not represent the residents of this town well to say, we'll put you all in and we'll wait for the agreement for 2 years from now.
Well, I don't know why you keep saying we don't have an agreement. We have an agreement. We're agreeing to the letter that they sent, and we're agreeing to the motion that we made on Tuesday with some alterations to it.
So then what's
did you
the
expect?
So what's the objection? Glue the two of them together, we can do a merge letter, right? Put the two of them together, call it whatever you want, call it an agreement, call it a contract, call it the memorandum of understanding. I don't know if legally it has to have a specific title to it, but if there's an agreement between us and them, put it in paper, put it there, let's approve it, let's let them approve it, and let's move forward.
We will have the agreement. The memorandum, did you expect that there was gonna be no memorandum of understanding coming forward after Tuesday evening? There had to be something to memorialize it. Of course, there was gonna be some sort of document that would memorialize what we did here Tuesday evening.
Do you have this letter? Oh, the language.
Okay, while Joe's looking at that, the one problem I've got is back in on January 24th, the town board, the previous town board made a decision to put us where we were in the map. I keep hearing it constantly in the newspaper, we're the ones blamed for delaying the city's application. Now, you've said it either once or twice tonight, and I don't see where we're being blamed. We've already made the decision, they keep coming back, we keep going back, we've already made the decision. Why are we the ones being blamed for delaying their application?
They've moved on, Larry. We're no longer
Okay, so
delaying
then what
their
are we doing here
application.
tonight?
We're trying to satisfy what the vast majority of the citizens of the
No.
town of Waukesha want, yes,
Okay,
Larry,
the
because
vast
you were
majority-
there on Saturday.
Yeah, okay, let me-
And you watched 80 or 90% of the people stand up in favor of wanting to have the option of secondary sewer and water services.
Okay, how many people were there, John?
We already, can I just say, we already made that vote. Ms. Luffer was nice enough to bring it in, right? We've already made the vote. We've put ourselves in the service area with a list of conditions that the city is saying that they have, as I read it, but one objection to. They want to insert the word always in front of the rest of the words. There's no need for the rest of this statement. If they're not in disagreement with anything else, they just wanna write the word always in there. Right, so, okay, great, let's put the word always there, and let's send it over to them. And there it is, these are the terms that we've approved, being in the service area as the entire community. Let's go. I mean, we shouldn't be putting this other, I don't understand why they would wanna wait to make, the agreement time is now. We've made the agreement, we've said yes, they're not objecting, they're not saying, hey, we are gonna require you, they're wanting one hedge word in there. Tell them that we'll have the deal more for them, type it up and send it over to the common council so they don't have to spend the money to do it, or the time. I mean, I can't imagine what it's about. Is it about the time that they don't wanna take to type up the simple document? We've got a letter, and we've got that. How hard is it to put those two pieces together and make a cohesive document, submit it for the common council to approve and accept? The mayor signs off of it then after they vote. You sign off of it and it's done. I don't care whether you call it a memorandum of understanding or Waukesha Water Board Agreement, or whatever you wanna call it,
Well,
but.
that's what they're gonna do, and this is their language, it's their application, I mean, we don't have a strong hand to play, Joe. And the fact is that we walk out of here tonight, we're walking out of here done. They're not waiting for a memorandum of understanding, not waiting for a contract, they'll have our motion with this language and their letter, and that's the agreement that we have. That's an agreement that the city council is gonna vote on.
Question?
Yes.
John, apparently you had been speaking to people, and I have no emails or any communication. Are you speaking with Mr. Henshaw?
No, I've been speaking with Dan Dukniak.
Okay. When was your last conversation with him, please?
I'm gonna say probably 2 or 2:30 this afternoon.
This afternoon?
Yeah.
Okay. What is Dan's feeling with the articles that have been in the newspaper in respect that the ship has sailed? What does that really mean?
I have no idea what he
Okay.
feels or how he feels.
To myself and anybody that reads it would think, okay, town of Waukesha, too late, ship has sailed on the surface. The other way of looking at it would be, Mike, smokescreen, they want more, apparently we're not happy here, let's put it down, ship has sailed, and the 45 days of us to be in or out in May of 2011 had turned into perhaps June 20th of 2013. So this is just a constant ploy, if you will, to get us to change to the word always. Also, too, I made reference in Tuesday's meeting when we talked about this memorandum of understanding, what I would call something that's solid, something that's with substance, something that's in front of me, something that's now. I have made the analogy between having the gate open and the cows out, then you close the gate and sit down and, I don't know, look at your losses, if you will. That would be in the minutes, by the way, the cow and the gate. So virtually, I'm looking at something that, if the ship has sailed, what are we really doing here after 2.5 years?
Trying to protect the town of Waukesha and the town of Waukesha residents. That's what we're trying to do, Mike.
Mr. Chairman, can I weigh in?
Yes, please.
With all respect, guys, we're sitting here on the 23rd of May. It will accomplish nothing to sit and talk and finger point and assess blame about who delayed who, or whether the ship sailed, or whether it's at the dock, or whether it's sunk. It's ridiculous. I mean, maybe the analogy almost is, I don't go to auctions much or what or not, but at a certain point in time, the gavel slams down, the sale is closed. This is it. You're gonna have to do a gut check here, I guess, and pretty much take it or leave it and move on. I mean, I guess I can agree with Joe in a bit. The terms of all of it are there. I don't particularly care whether it's called a memorandum of understanding or the agreement of May of 2013 or whatever it is. Mr. De La Moore is an accomplished legal counsel there. I'm sure that you can make sure that whatever is put into writing and memorialized protects us. But guys, let's knock off the conversation about just trying to kick sand and point fingers at people. We're at the reality of where we're at. You're not gonna be able to redo history. It doesn't do any good for anybody to sit up here and posture and say, this is what I thought or said when, or this is what they said to them. We're at the moment. The moment is at hand. And you're either gonna have to do you know what or get off the pot. It's just that simple.
Well, I'll make a motion to accept that we take the motion from Tuesday night with the one change of inserting the word always in front of required and correcting the title from Waukesha Water Utility to the City of Waukesha and/or its agents, if you will, because maybe that's what the water utility needs to be classified as. And that would be the only adjustment to the letter that my motion would approve.
And so you're
Joe,
saying
I got a
no
question.
memorandum?
By inserting the word always, before we had another word, it's called conditional. I get it next to the City of Waukesha. We had the word there by their own word, by the way, request. Well, apparently they don't like that. They would prefer the word always and put is not in front of it. I am of the strong belief that it will happen. It will be a condition upon getting water or sewer or both to be annexed to the city. And we had on several occasions people talking about, nope, this never happened in the town of Waukesha. Trust me, it has. But the people out there are hearing, and in the Waukesha Now this morning indicated very clearly that it was read that there's X homes, maybe 20. Well, we have a fly issue and we had all them other issues that's how they got the water because of these special DNR exemptions or whatever you want to call it. There is, the reason we put the word required in there is to slow that down. One of the selling features of getting the people all riled up is the fact that there were various people on this board, meaning Mr. Barrick and Mr. Fisher, that were beating their chest in respect that they don't have to annex. It doesn't have to happen. By us inserting that word only clinches it. And the other thing that I'm really strong against is the insertion of this last phrase, upon a successful Great Lakes water application, and it goes on, memorandum of understanding, to expect some sort of memorandum of moralization of a understanding or a contract or whatever you want to call it. I would expect that today, simply because 3, 4, 5 years down the line, Mr. Duzniak is working in California, Mr. Henshaw is perhaps in Florida, and who are these people? What sign, what document, what do we have? We've got nothing. We've got what we did give to the city on a silver platter, anything and everything that they wanted, including verbiage, because it's being sent back to us to make the verbiage correct. I find it deceitful I also find it where there's no room to negotiate anything here. It's my way or the highway, you're in or out. I would like to entertain the fact that, yes, I would like to look at the northwest section of our township, the people on Comanche and Winnebago Way, places of that nature that are very, very close to the city. After that Saturday meeting, which was, by the way, a whole lot of people from that area were there, okay, I can understand, and I seen fear in their eyes, and I would like that to be reconsidered, but by the same token, to give the entire town to the city is wrong. And Mr. Merrick, you indicated very clearly, if you live on, did you call it Big Bend Road, or what road did you call it? I want to get it right.
Town line.
Town line. You're not gonna get it tomorrow, in so many words. Correct me if I'm wrong.
You're not gonna get it for a long time, Mike.
For a long time. It's a real fact, if you can get it at all and if you can afford it, simply because the dime will be yours to pick up on that 1.5 miles at X dollars a foot. So if I'm going to have to, if I live a 1.5 miles off of 164 at 1.5 miles times X dollars and my house is worth $225,000, you know what? I'm gonna cut my losses because I can't swing $750,000 to get that water to my house. And I'm the only one that needs it. Surprisingly enough, the neighbors aren't gonna come around with the cup out and say, hey, Mike, might need it in 10 years from now. I got a good neighborhood, but I would not expect them to chip in just because of my personal problem. And that's where the buck stops when that happens. So my feeling,
I got a couple of questions. You've referred to these properties that you are certain of that were forced to annex. Could you name them? Because I've named the properties that were not required to
I think we
annex.
could encourage our town clerk to look up the properties in the last 10 years that have been annexed to the city of Waukesha, and given the condition that, yes, we will accept your annexation, but you have to take our water. I think that can be accomplished very easily.
So you don't have a list of those properties? You said you know of them?
No, I don't.
Okay.
But I'm sure there's some out there, yes.
My next
I mean,
question.
Well,
Just
just
a minute,
one on
Joe.
Sunset, and can we not
Just
sort
a
of
minute,
like
Joe.
up here, please? I mean,
We
you've got a
didn't,
list,
we
he
didn't
doesn't have a
insert
list.
the required terminology. Required was inserted by the city, that wasn't our word. Regarding negotiating and including different areas of the town, perhaps up in Winnebago Way, you mentioned you had 2 years to do it. The time is up. And lastly, we are not giving the town to the city. We are giving the residents of the town of Waukesha the ability, the right, the option to have secondary sewer and secondary water service. That's all we're getting. We're not giving up anything.
Mr. Chairman,
We've done that already.
so we can move ahead. I'd like to second Mr. Bansky's motion. I don't think anybody seconded it, but I would like to simply ask you if you would allow a friendly amendment if there is not specific language in that about how this is memorialized with the memorandum of understanding, or whatnot. Can we simply leave that either explicitly stated in the motion or implicitly said that we will allow legal counsel for the town here, Mr. De La Mora, to, if you will, perfect whatever it is to be put in writing at this point in time to protect our interests and memorialize the understanding? Is that a friendly amendment that you would accept? It's not explicitly stated, but that would be our expectation.
Clarify that for me, would you please?
Well, what I'm saying is the objection is the specific language about the memorandum of understanding, as I understand it. Is that correct? That's what the concern is, that specific language?
I don't wanna wait. You can call it whatever you want. I choose not to wait until it's done because the agreement is conditional on the outcome of their application already. So it's more important to get the agreement, put in writing, so that it's done, because we have several people saying it's not, we're not there, they're not gonna go. So let's just get it clean. We know what the terms are, put it on a piece of paper, call it whatever you want, and mayor, common council.
All I'm
we all
saying is,
sign it,
are
done.
you comfortable, or can, if we were to act favorably upon your motion that I have seconded, are we comfortable with the fact of letting Mr. De La Mora see that that gets put into appropriate form at this point in time?
Sure. Be happy to have Hector draft the document and send it
Hector,
for
can
their
you do that
acceptance.
for us? Do you understand the sentiment or the concern of the board?
I think I do, but I am very unclear as to when the memorandum of understanding is to be drafted. The issue of difference is that, if I understood Chairman Merrick's communication, the city is saying, when we get water, we will then proceed with the preparation or the entering into the memorandum of understanding. Supervisor Bansky, I understand him to be saying forthwith, upon acceptance of our motion, you enter into a document, call it whatever, which memorializes the understanding. So timing is something that I need guidance on.
I guess I'll turn it around back to you, and just so we can move this ahead, without meaning any disrespect to anyone else at the table here, I guess my question to you would be, you're the legal counsel and representative for the town, what would you recommend, and you can carry it forward. And in the moment, just to move the discussion, I don't really much care what Chairman Merrick said or Supervisor Bansky said. You're our legal counsel. What needs to be done, and what could you have a fruitful discussion with on the city so you protect the town and accomplish our goals? We need to hear from you.
Well, please understand, I have not been involved in any discussions, and my responsibility is to do the bidding of this town board. My recommendation would be to memorialize immediately what we've agreed to, because over time, memories fade.
From my perspective, Brian, I think we would have a lot better shot of getting this to the city and them accepting this if we accepted Mr. Bansky's motion and just eliminated the memorialization and had this document, which would be their letter, a letter saying we accept your letter with these amendments. I think we'd have a lot better shot at getting the city to take that than to have attorneys go back and forth. That would be my suggestion.
I don't disagree with you. I'm comfortable with that. I can support that.
So then, practically speaking, would we then, there's a old story about dinosaur egg, if you leave it alone, it grows up and becomes a big bad dinosaur and eats you. So is it then your thought to just, we would go right back and say, okay, hey, you accepted our time to put it in writing, and Hector can send it over there and have their legal partner review it and sign it, or?
No, I would say
Would we
that
just ignore it like it didn't, it wouldn't be of interest to just let it linger? If we send that in the method in which you're saying, where we would just ignore it, and I don't think that would, where we would just be saying, hey, we're just not gonna list anything in it, and they accept it. It would be my belief and opinion then that we should be instructing Mr. De Lamore and his firm to draft the document that itemizes all of the terms in the agreement and send it to them for approval and signature. And that would form a contractual agreement between the city and the town as we have entered the town into the water service area. And I wouldn't be interested in waiting for a very long time.
Okay, I think it's even simpler. They're gonna have to hold a special common council meeting, and we're gonna give them our letter with their letter as attachments, with this as an attachment, and their common council is gonna have to accept it. We're bound at that point. They're bound, we're bound. We don't need to do anything else. Then we're bound. We have an agreement. It's an offer, a counter offer, and an acceptance. It's that simple.
Question for Attorney Hector. An MOU, is it a form of negotiation, sir?
In strict commercial transactions, a memorandum of understanding is a preliminary document which in many cases is not legally binding on the parties until certain conditions are met. In other situations, and between intergovernmental units, memorandum of understanding is just literally what those words mean. That the two parties agree that they have reached an understanding and that they're memorializing the agreement. And in this particular situation, it doesn't matter what you call it, the consideration that the town is giving is that it's allowing a certain amount of its territory to be included as part of the application by the city. The city's consideration to the town is that it's willing to honor the conditions that have been itemized with regards to the arrangements for the delivery of water and sewer services if they are requested.
I'll ask you an easier question. If we send a letter to the city detailing that we accept their April 25th letter with the amendments that we are talking about tonight, and they vote on it in their common council, and they accept it, do we have a contract?
It depends. There's so much ambiguity here in terms of the uncertainty of the future. If you say a contract that we can enforce, we can go to court on, I don't know. There are so many variables here as to what is to happen with the city's application. And I don't say that lightly because one of the things that we are doing is engaging in a certain amount of forbearance during the time period of their application. I think if you want to get the city to confirm the terms as best as you can, add a signature line that all of the above terms are accepted and agreed to.
Well, you can take any contract to court. I guess the bottom line is, the question is, would we have a contract? Not if you could take it to court. If we have an agreement and their common council has an agreement and we agree on the same thing, don't we have an agreement between the two communities?
I would say possibly, but what if somebody changes their mind and you don't have some, I mean, it's only an agreement then until somebody changes their mind, until it's in writing, because somebody other than us, 5 years from now, what have you, is gonna say, holy cow, what did they agree to?
Well, we agreed to this. We have it. We have it.
I don't know, heck, we could draft something up and send it after they approve it, let them look at our letter, get rid of this last statement, let them approve it in content, and then let's put it in writing and be done with it. If they don't have a problem with any of the conditions that are in there, or any of the things that they've asked us for, then it shouldn't be a problem to put something in there. It's all conditional that they get Great Lakes water. Nothing starts until they get that point.
I guess we can spend some money on attorneys and have another piece of paper drafted, but we would have it in writing. I don't know what you're looking for.
We should remove this paragraph, you should sign it, you should send it to them.
Let's go.
They should approve it,
Reprint it without
we
the,
should memorialize it.
that's okay. Hey, you're not a robot, you're human.
Question.
Yes.
This letter that was to go out to Dan Duzniak, you said, not Mr. Henshaw?
Yes.
Okay,
Well,
it didn't get out Wednesday?
It goes to the mayor, the common council, and Dan.
The insertion of upon a successful Great Lakes water application, that was not agreed to, that wording was not agreed to on Tuesday evening. And obviously you took it upon yourself to insert that, correct me if I'm wrong?
Mike, that's why we're here, we're talking about it right now.
Okay,
That's
so
what we're talking
apparently
about.
you put that in.
We're here talking about it, yes.
He
Okay.
hasn't sent it, is what he's saying.
I guess the point I want to make is I'm a little gun shy, based on what we approved at this table. And if you take it upon yourself to add something personally that you would like to see in there, I would like to say that's a no-no.
That's why we're here, Mike.
Yep.
We're
Well,
talking about it right now.
If it wasn't for the insertion of the word always, I don't think we'd be here. It's the fact that I questioned this, and that's why we're here, sir.
No, Mike, we're here to talk about the changes, all of them. And for you to infer anything different,
Well, why did you do it? Why did you put that on there?
because the city said that's the only way they're going to accept it. So
Yeah, we
we're
didn't
here
agree to that.
talking about, you didn't have to, we're here talking about it now. What don't you understand?
Maybe I can infer something. I believe what John is saying is that the document that you got in your email, correct me if I'm wrong, was not sent to the city.
Right.
And that he has prepared something for us to consider that he believes is consistent with the discussions that he has had with Dan. And he is asking if we will approve inserting the word always and inserting the sentence that falls below the fourth bullet point. And we are simply saying, well, the motion that I made says, I'll gladly accept the word always, and I won't accept the other sentence that's been added. And that this draft should be the letter that goes to the city with the changes of getting rid of that sentence that I'm guessing that Judy is handing out. So we got
Yeah. New one's coming.
So we should be able to actually approve the physical letter as it will go to the city as soon as January principal.
May I,
Will we see this prior to it leaving our building tomorrow?
Right now,
On an email form,
I would say you'll see it right now,
in whole?
right now, in full, black and white. We could watch them sign it, and that's the one that'll get sent. All right?
It's accurate.
Okay.
Are we okay on the other, I took the bottom line out, I moved the extra accept.
So is that what you handed to Mike?
Yeah,
So-
it doesn't have the bottom line on
So, I took it back, because I didn't print again, so
Hey, reprint, let's print it. Let's just,
you're okay with the rest, okay?
yeah.
Always
Always is
was put is
inserted in
not
the
always
fourth bullet.
required to the, and then they had that whole thing that Chairman had stated. Continue.
Polish shredder.
Maybe we should consider music for these. We'd have to agree on the
We have to
music?
agree on the selection of the type of music. Thank you.
Sure.
it. Thank you again.
The big times of China.
I see, that's the one,
So I guess since I have this letter in my hand, I will make a motion to authorize Chairman John Merrick to sign this draft here in our hands and deliver it to the city by whatever means he feels is best.
second.
Carrie?
Let's take a voice vote, please.
Sure. Chairman Merrick,
Yes.
Supervisor Bansky,
Yes.
Supervisor Wolf,
No.
Supervisor Laska,
no,
Supervisor Fisher.
Yes.
Motion approved.
And lastly, accounts payable authorization to pay the bills. We have $36,465.22. Second?
Second.
Mike first. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion
Chairman.
carries, we pay the bills.
Before we go to the next item, I'd like to make a motion to insert onto the next regularly scheduled meeting of the town board a series of items that I'd like included on the agenda. If you guys want to look at them, if you want to take them on a one time, or you want to take them all at one time, it's all the items under 2 that are listed. These are again items, we're not discussing the item, I am simply asking to have these items listed, added to our next agenda for the town.
Can you clarify them with some specificity? What exactly A means? B, I mean, what action are you looking to take? I think we should have something more specific on the agenda.
The problem is we can't discuss it. I mean, I think that town
Unless-
board of supervisors policy on vendor engagement and communication is very straightforward. We want to list, consider and review, because it's under, so discussion and possible action on the town planner contract / engagement letter. Discussion and possible action on the town board policy on the citizen comments agenda item. I mean,
Some are clear.
yeah, I mean, I think they're clear.
I don't have a problem with this, let's just let's get some more specifics on it tomorrow, let's get it on the agenda. Or the next day, or whatever day you have available, we can chat about it.
So, but my motion is to get, and I would need a second, and we'd have to take a vote to put these on the agenda.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And lastly, does anybody want to adjourn, or should we stay?
Sandy didn't bring any treats, so let's go. Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Who was the second?
Me.
Thank you.
I don't know what they voted on, I'm gonna get a letter now. Get a copy of tonight. See if I get a copy.
How's your back?
It doesn't feel very good tonight. No, it doesn't feel very good tonight.
It looks like it's pretty delicate.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Oh, that's nice.
the 34 staples in it. So
That's why he's walking so gingerly.
yeah, so
Wow.
You haven't had your road swept yet, have you?
I thought it was swamped at one point earlier. Don't quote me on that.
Mine wasn't. It's homes all over. It
Okay.
hasn't been done in 2 years. Oh, yeah. Check in.